to the next episode of the Parenting Podcast, and I am thrilled to have with me one of my older friends, Zoe Cundy, who is mum to Poppy. And Zoe and I met in NICU, in neonatal care, when our babies were very, very tiny, and not so tiny now. We were just discussing that it is getting to birthday time. We like to call it birthday season in the NICU fam, because they all start from about now, don't they, right through to, I guess, the end of kind of March time. And all of a sudden they just get older and older, and Poppy is due to become 13 before Christmas. So Zoe and I were just talking about this time of year and how crazy it is. So welcome, Zoe. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for being here and having the time to kind of spend with us. Tell me a little bit how things are for you at the moment with birthday, Christmas season.
It's mad. When December comes, I don't like it. I know everyone gets excited, but it brings back a lot of memories for me, good and bad. As we all know, NICU is a roller coaster ride, and I'm still on it, unfortunately. But I think I always will be with Poppy. So come December, everyone's like, "Oh, you're getting excited for Christmas?" And I'm like, "It's Poppy's birthday, 9 days before Christmas." Wasn't planned that way.
No.
She was due mid-March, but unfortunately it just happened. And yeah, so 16th, next Friday, is her birthday. She will be 13.
I can't believe
so
it.
Yeah, it's
Hurts my soul.
13 years ago. Yeah, it does. 13 years, and yeah, we know it. I know it. She's a teenager. She's with all the difficulties she goes on with, so I know that she's turning 13. But yeah, so mainly it's these 2 weeks leading up to it is mad. So I'm trying to sort of keep calm and get birthday stuff sorted, and then think Christmas. So yeah, trying to find Christmas and birthday at the same time of presents is hard, and because Poppy is limited to what she likes and what she can do, is even harder. So when people are like, "Oh, let's get her a phone, or let's get some earrings or some makeup or stuff like that," and you're like, "No, that's not Poppy, because that is not her." She doesn't do makeup, she doesn't do jewelry. It's just part of her sensory of, "No, don't like it, shouldn't be on there, take it off." So yeah, it's a struggle, but we sort of get around it and think, "Oh, clothes, she loves books, and she just likes being with people." So we like do experiences, like go to the theatre a lot, or cinema, or go out for dates, with people, which is lovely. Is what she really likes, is to be with people. She's very sociable. She's probably a bit like me and Rob. We'll talk and we like being with people. That's what we've always been like that. So I think she's sort of come to the point of it. But COVID has put a big stop on it as well. So now it's trying to force her to go out.
Right.
Because obviously being stuck at home with us, which was like her comfort zone, she loved it. So then trying to get her out is like, "No, I don't want to go," because crowds are still a big thing for her.
Yeah.
Surprising of where we're going, what time we're going to be there, what we're going to do. You have to give her advance notice of where we're going, what we're doing, so she can process that, which I do some of these special needs children, should we say, as we know that they need that prep.
100%. Jay gets that, even if like every other weekend when he goes to his dad, he needs to know what I'm up to. It's very expensive. Obviously, usually I don't do anything, but like if I have to go to work or whatever, I have to tell him where I'm going and where I'll be and when I'll be back, and he might not pick up his phone, he might not actually give two shits, but it's that preparation of like
working it out,
pre-panic.
Poppy does it to me every day. "What are you doing today?" Like if I'm in my uniform to go to work, it's like, "Oh right, you're going to work today, then what are you doing? And you're going to be at home when I get home." It's them working it out in their head and being safe with knowing what you're doing, and I'm okay at school, so that's fine. And
it's like a security blanket, isn't it? They need to know you're still there.
Definitely.
I wonder if that, sorry, just my brain, I wonder if that comes from like when they were in NICU, like the kind of nervous system where obviously we couldn't be with them 24/7, and that kind of reassurance of maybe them almost having it in their body that we will come back for them. Do you know what I mean?
Probably. And I think because as well with Poppy, she always needs someone with her.
Yeah, of course.
So if she's not got anyone with her, or she doesn't, if she's like, where do we go? Are you going to be with me? Who's going to be with me? I think that sets panic for her as well, because if no one's with her, she can't do anything.
Yeah, of course.
So I think as well that some of these children that have got the needs, they need to put it in their head that, okay, so who am I going to be with? Yeah. If you're not going to be there, who's going to be with me, and why are we doing it? Do you know what I mean? It's working out the same as we do, you know, with new situation, like, right, so where am I going? All right, I've got to work out where you plan it in your head.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they do as well. But I think it is being part in NICU, like, we couldn't be there 24/7. We would go absolutely mental. It was bad enough we were there from like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening watching a fish tank of this baby not doing anything with bleepy noises.
Yeah.
But we were there to constantly, it's weird.
And you're right. The time of year definitely triggers, definitely reminds, I guess, of all of those situations, those sounds, those circumstances, good and bad, you know.
Totally.
But it's very much, it's now, it's not in the past. It does bring it back to,
brings it up every year. You think it will never go because of what
you astound me every time I see you, every time I speak to you, because I know you've not had it easy, you know. I know we've all had our own crosses to bear, but obviously there are some people that have, you know, a lot more to deal with. Some people have more ongoing things, some people have more short kind of intense stuff. We all have these varying degrees of shit to deal with, you know. But I know whenever I talk to you, you just get on, and that's not always been the case. Like, I know that, you know, we all have our times, but you just astound me, like how much you just kind of take it on the chin and just go, well, it is what it is, and let's crack on.
It has to be. I mean, I wish every day was different. I really do. And I think we all think that some days when we go through a bad day, and you do, and it's normal to think like that, because I kept thinking I'm a bad mum, I shouldn't think like that for Poppy. But she's here, she got here, she's still alive, she's got a tough life, and I can't change it. So I've got to live with it. And the only way I can live with it is by getting on with it.
Yeah.
And I have to brush, you know, as you do, have your coffee, get on with it. Yeah, okay. And I think if I meet everyone and go, oh, how are you? And you're like, oh my God, I can't be like that. I'm not that kind of person, because I don't want that person to not talk to me anymore and go, don't talk to Zoe because she's just, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? I've worked with people before and you're like, how you doing? You're like, oh my God. And the day I've had, and I'm like, I wish you'd never asked.
I used to someone like that at work and you go, hi, how are you? Oh, fuck, I wish I'd said that. No.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to be that person where no one comes up to me and goes, hi, how you doing? And I'm going, I'm all right, actually. But deep down, I'm not. But they will know that. Close people like yourself and people who've been through it, and my close family and friends will know I'm not all right. And I can tell them. But it's not, and the everyday person like, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, fine. How's Poppy? Yeah, good. Actually, no, she's not. But I don't want to go into it with, you know, because you get good days, you get bad days. But that is in normal life as well. It's not just with a disabled child. But with a disabled child, most days are hard. But you know, Poppy she's a happy girl. She's sociable. She's very chatty. She's got a lovely group of people. I've got family members that, you know, are with her constantly. We've got a lovely carer who comes in and helps me. And she's got a great school, and she's got a lovely little cliquey group. So she's happy. It's just the home life that she struggles with. But then she's a teenager as well. So she's got to go through the hormones, and I'm tired and I don't want to talk to you. And what do you do at school today? I don't know. Okay, fine. So there's a mixture of everything that goes through it, and I have to take it on the chin. And it's me normally. It's not Rob.
Of course.
Rob's there. He's there. He's the support, but he's not the emotional support that Poppy always needs. Me, which mums will always be. It's the security.
That the difference different relationship. And dads have this no, I'm going to say it. It's what I was going to say, and I stand by what I was going to say. Dads have this luxury of being in and out. It's not, and I'm going to get massive backlash for this, but I'll take it. It's not that they necessarily want that role, but that seems to be the kind of maternal paternal roles that society gives us, that we take on ourselves. Dad's off out earning, he comes back, mum has to go and earn, but she has to do the home and the child rearing, and so the person that's closest to you is always going to get the brunt of how you feel, and unfortunately that falls to us, right?
Yeah, it does. And every day I get it. In the morning I get it, in the evening I get it. And I will walk away and Rob will like, go and sit in the other room, I'll deal with her. But he will calm her. Yeah. And then I'll go back in and I've taken my 10 breaths, and counted to 10 so many times I've lost count. Do you know what I mean? But that is what we deal with. But yeah, I think the men get it easy than what we do. They always will, even though they're there, like when Rob goes out, it's like, oh yeah, bye daddy, because he's always done it. He has his football and he does his golf. So he goes out, that's his time out. If I go out, where are you going? Who are you going to go with? What time are you going to be back? Yeah. Are you going to be here? So it's questions because I'm going out and I'm not used to it. I go out and do my things during the day. Yeah. So if I go out in the evening, it's like, whoa, where are you going?
Yeah. And maybe it's worth here, putting the caveat in that maybe we should say primary carer as opposed to mum or dad, because there are going to be dads that are bringing up kids on their own.
Yeah, no, I don't mean it like that at all. Yeah.
A great job as well, but it's always the person that, or if there aren't parents, there are siblings that are doing it. It's the person that
it's not just mums out there. No,
totally,
definitely not.
So we've said obviously that Poppy has extra needs, but obviously you and I know Pops. But for anybody else listening, maybe you could describe kind of who Poppy is, what she's kind of been through, and kind of how she copes day to day, how you cope day to day.
Okay, so Poppy was born 25 plus 5 weeks, so 6 months. Natural birth. Yeah, very unexpected. Didn't expect anything like that. Didn't know it was going to happen. So big shock to all of us. Yeah. She was in NICU, or should we say in Addenbrooke's, for 112 days. And we left April the 6th the following year. So a long time. Yeah. She went up and down throughout NICU. She had colds. She suffered with reflux. She came home on oxygen, as we know.
All too well.
Yeah, there was me, you, and Dawn. So us three were the oxygen mums. Wasn't on it for long, thankfully, which was good. She just needed a little help. Coming up to her first birthday, I knew something wasn't right. And we went to Jack's party. I remember it. We all went, and they're all scooting about, sitting up and crawling. Poppy's not. She can't even hold her head up. And I, as a nursery nurse, I knew something was wrong. And as a mum, something's not quite right as well. But they're like, oh no, you shouldn't obviously compare prems. They're all different.
And they all have, a much later kind of developmental stage.
Totally.
And they're all very individual, aren't they? So I guess at that point, it must have been difficult for, the clinicians and for you to kind of put a pin in anything in particular.
Yeah, it was. And I think because Poppy was the first one to be born.
Yes.
So seeing that she was the oldest, and I looked at the others and thought, hang on a minute, they're younger and they're still moving about. So I knew, but luckily that afternoon, because of the Jack's party was in the morning, that afternoon I had an appointment and I said, something's not right. And they went, yeah, I think we've all agreed that. So we're going to do some tests. And then, so that was January. And I went back on February 14th and they told me Poppy had got cerebral palsy and go home and Google it.
Shut up. Did they actually say that to you? Seriously?
Yes. Just what she actually said to me. If I'd known I was going to be told that, Rob would have come with me.
Yeah.
or they would have actually just said, you know what, I think it's best if both parents come. I think we've got a diagnosis, and I think it might be best if you both come along.
Yeah,
I went on my own.
Discuss it.
Yeah, I was taken into a small room with someone else. It was someone, I don't know who else was with her, and she went, yes, we agree, something's wrong with Poppy. This is what she's got, cerebral palsy. Go home and Google it. So
I can't believe that, Zoe. I didn't know.
Yeah,
that's awful.
You don't. That's what I mean. Like I say, you don't go into it because you don't need to. But I was gobsmacked, and I went, seriously, and they went, yeah. And I said, but there's so many different types of cerebral palsy. I'm not stupid. You know, working within children, you get to know, and you see it in society. These adults that are obviously, sorry, sounds awful, in a vegetative state where they're just in a chair. There is no communication. There is nothing. You know, they're just laying there. And I'm like, my daughter's going to be like that. That's what you get in your head.
Of course you do. And especially in NICU, and I guess if you have been in hospital for any amount of time, or for, you know, some kind of event, you know, big event in your life, clinicians will always give you worst case scenario. So we're kind of conditioned to hear worst case. And often it's not that, but they don't ever give you like the bare minimum. They don't give you the spectrum of that. No. Just to give you a diagnosis and then tell you to go home and go, like, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. I remember when obviously Poppy was born at just after midnight, about 12:30 midnight, and I didn't get to see her until 2:00 the next day. They wouldn't let me see her because obviously I'd gone through a bit of a traumatic birth, labour wise, and everything else didn't work out. I had a catheter and everything, so I couldn't move. So I was like, getting this out. I had to eat, I had to walk before I got there. And as soon as I walked in the room, it was, right, I need to tell you that not everything's okay. I went, well, no, I get that. This isn't normal. I give you that she could die in the next 72 hours. She could be deaf. She could be blind. She could have Down syndrome, or she could have cerebral palsy. And I'm like, okay, thanks for that. I haven't even seen my child yet. So you know in your head anyway that this isn't normal. I've given birth to a child that is 6 months old, and she's weighing £1.12. Yeah. You know, and she's going to fight for her life. So thanks for that. It's the scariest moment you could ever have. You when you get pregnant, as you know, you've been through, you know, yourself, that it's, you expect, oh, I'm going to hold this little baby and everything, I'm going to go home and everything's going to be fine. Nah. Yeah. It's not. Because for us, it didn't work like that. Yeah. So when you know that you're giving birth at 6 months, this isn't looking good. So you do think the worst, unfortunately. You do try and stay positive, but in the back of your head, you're thinking, this ain't good. So trying to control all them emotions by trying to look at your baby and get told all of that is tough. So it's so bluntly as well. Oh, totally. I couldn't believe how blunt he was. And then the same, obviously, when they told me about Poppy, and I was like, okay. So I left in tears. I bet. Absolute tears, and went home, and Rob went, you all right? And I went, no. I said, they've told me to Google it. He went, are you for real? And I'm like, yeah. So I Googled scope, and I Googled cerebral palsy, and what does come up? The adults. Yeah. That are non-communicative, non-mobile, and they're going to live a life of nothing, unfortunately, because they're going to need constant persistent care. I'm like, right, that's my child. So in the back of your head, you're like, nah, it's not. Yeah. It's going to be like that. So that's our drive of, no, Poppy's going to get what she can, and we're going to do everything we can to make life easier for her. It's not going to make it easy, to make it easier. No. So, so the first 3 years were tough. At Christmas time, she ended up in hospital with bronchiolitis, same as you know. When you walk down the corridor, your kids are already in, and then you go, oh, hi, sorry, you're in as well, are you? Yeah. That was a fun few days, wasn't it? Yeah, so I think the first... Right before Christmas Eve, wasn't it? Just before, I think I left Christmas Eve afternoon. Yeah, we did. It was like, it was the first year. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, so the first year was nice to have somebody else there with you. Yeah. Not that you want to be there, but to have a familiar face, you're like, hi. Can you watch my baby while I go for a wee? Yes, I can do that. Yeah. Yeah, so that was the first 3 years, and then I went back to work, which I
I think I tried to do that for myself, but this ain't going to beat me. Yeah, I've got a child with needs now, but I need to go back to work for me. But unfortunately, it didn't work out because, you know, Poppy was main issue, and the issue was that I couldn't concentrate at work and look after her. Even though I was part-time, I couldn't do it. So left work, went through a bad time with my mum. She died that year as well, and Poppy was 3, 4. I think she was 3. So trying to deal with that and everything, and then get her into school, nursery and school. And the school that I got her in, Queen Emma, was amazing. They wanted her, they took her. She was the star blazer of the school, or trailblazer, as you call it, whatever. They wanted her. They wanted to prove that this school has got no limits and we're going to take children with all disabilities. So that was like a godsend, like, because I thought she's never going to go to a mainstream school. But then the doctors, the consultants, neurological doctors told me, don't put her in a special school because she needs a mainstream school. So Poppy mentally is absolutely fine. She's a bit delayed in her learning, only because she struggles with intake of information and everything. So she's with her peers, year 8.
But she's sassy as hell. She's smart as hell. She's switched on as anything. Like,
her memory is amazing.
Jay's the same, isn't it funny?
Yeah.
It must be like an oxygen thing.
It must be. Because she, like, her favourite thing obviously is Strictly Come Dancing. And she's watched it, I can't remember, in years. But you put a song on, or a song comes on, or someone will say, oh, so-and-so danced with that, or so who did they dance with? She'll tell you straight away. Or she'll tell you who danced to that song. And you're like, what? She will remember things. So you tell her something, God help you, because you can't go back on your word.
I need to have a catch up with Strictly, because I'm like,
she'll be, she knows that she'll know when it's on, she'll know how long it's on for, you know, that's what she loves. So she struggled at school a little bit, but all I wanted her to do was go to school and be happy and get part of education. She had targets. She had to have targets. She was out of lessons quite a while because she had to have physio. We had lots of appointments, but they coped, and she had a brilliant one-to-one. We're still in good contact, and she stayed with Poppy for the whole of her 7 years, from nursery all the way through to the year 6 in primary.
God, that's a special relationship, eh?
Yeah, she was amazing, and I don't think Poppy would have got through it without her, but I think she got through it with Poppy as well. I think she had struggles at home, and I think it was like their own little thing of, like, they go to school and they switch off from the world and they get on with it, and that was amazing. And it was amazing for me that I knew that I could drop Poppy off at school, she'd have a good day, you know, and they'd tell me,
isn't it?
It is the trust. And if at the end of the day they go, do you know what, we've had a real rubbish day, and I'm like, okay, I get it. But they were honest with me. They didn't like beat around the bush, and I didn't want that, because I'm an honest person and I wanted them to be honest with me. So now and then we're obviously deciding what secondary school to put her in, which was a big issue. It was like a scary thing of, like, what school's going to be right for Poppy.
And that Queen Emma is scary anyway, but I think when there's so much uncertainty around being secure, and, you know, like you say, having that trusting one-to-one, and that the environment, and how big schools, how, you know, other kids are going to interact, and how she's going to be incorporated, and there's so much, right?
And it's with, as we know, you go to secondary school, we've all been through it, there's the bullying aspect, there's the unkind words, there's people that are not going to like you, which I totally understand. But with Poppy's issues, it's like, we need to find the right school for her, so she's going to encounter it, don't get me wrong, in her life, but I want to try and shield her as much as I can.
Of course.
So the local school was where we put her in, Queen Emma, so she could go through with a cluster of little friends.
Nice.
But unfortunately it wasn't set up for Poppy, and they really didn't want to do the sort of adjustments to have Poppy, because the same as Queen Emma, they never had a child in a wheelchair. But Queen Emma made it happen. They made a hygiene suite, so she needed to be changed. They got hoisting. They had a lift, so it wasn't a problem. So nothing was a problem. There was struggles probably most days, but they didn't make it out that it was a problem. And actually, they enjoyed having Poppy there.
Yeah.
You know, she's a bit of a ray of sunshine. She'll always smile at you. She'll always say hello to you. So we was like, right, where do we go? And our physio, NHS physio, and our consultant, paediatric consultant, said, it's way out there. I went to have a look, the last jigsaw puzzle piece, and it fitted.
That's amazing.
And Poppy, well, I took Poppy because it was like after COVID time.
Yeah.
Still sort of going through part of it. It was one parent, one carer, have a look around. So I went after school, and Poppy went, I like it. I'm like, what? She went, I like it. I'm like, okay. So she actually made the decision. I said, would you like to come here? She went, yeah, I want to bring Daddy.
Love it.
So I said, phoned them up, said, look, Rob, Poppy wants to bring Rob. Is that? Yeah, no problem. Bring her. No problem. Went, and that was it. So she was, and from day one, now she gets on the minibus. She gets picked up on the minibus.
Awesome.
I took her the first week. I was going to do like the first sort of couple of weeks, just to sort of, it's big transition, you know, as you know, like new school, new people, new friends. You know, she wasn't going with anyone she knew. No friends.
Easing you in as well as easing her in. There's that. Do I let her go? Is she going to be okay?
Yeah. Who's looking after my child?
Yeah.
I needed to see faces. So I said, right, okay, I will take you the first couple of weeks. The first week I did, and she went, Mum, I want to go on the minibus.
I was going to say, when did she say no?
Yeah. I was like, okay. So I had to hold back my emotions. Yeah. And I'm like, but most parents don't take their child to secondary school.
No.
So she needed to have that independence and confidence that she will never have total independence. But if that is part of independence that she can gain, go for it. And she got on that minibus and she didn't look back.
Yeah. And it's allowing her to grow, and it's allowing you to let her grow. That weird, it's like I can't describe it. It's an detachment from our kids from the minute they're born, because we can't be there to do all of the cares. You know, you can wipe their eyes with a bit of cotton wool and that's about it for ages. Or, you know, then you get to maybe change a tiny nappy through, you know, holes and wires and all that sort of shit. And, you know, like, and each other's bonging, you've got alarms with each one of you turning the other one's alarm off. You're too busy to, you know, there's so many things you can't do. Breastfeeding, all that kind of stuff. You know, I touched on that in my podcast. So to have, you know, sort of 12 years where there's almost that freedom, but you don't want to let them go. No. Especially when they've got so many other things that you know need to be catered for, and you know how to cater for them. This is them go is
Poppy still needs to have intimate changing, bless her. She's still in pads. She will always be like that. We've tried the toileting, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately, for her body. So she will always need to be changed once a day. She can't feed herself. She needs to be fed. She can't itch her nose. She can't itch her eye or anything like that, or ear. It's impossible for her with her cerebral palsy. I obviously forgot to say that it affects all 4 limbs.
Right.
So her hands and her legs do not work the way that ours work. You know, we automatically pick our hand up, touch our head. She can't do that. She has to will her hand to do that. And you can see the concentration in her face trying to do it, and it doesn't always work. And her muscles don't work like that. Her muscles will contract and then they will let go. So one minute she could stand and be straight and real tall, the next minute her body will just collapse like a pile of jelly. That's how the cerebral palsy works for her. She doesn't have a good grip. She can have one grip and then next minute it's gone. She has an involuntary movement. So if she held a fork, she could probably damage herself, poke herself in the eye. So it's hazards like that everyday thing that we take for granted, she can't do. She wants a drink. She has to ask for a drink. She can't pick it up and do it herself. So it's all those things are like, right, well, I do them automatically. So who's going to do this for my child in secondary school?
Yeah, and especially you've had this TA who's been with her for this whole
7 years.
He's known her,
who knew exactly, knew her inside out.
All of the stuff that you trusted, and now again this transition into great independence. But who's gonna step into that for her, right? And who is gonna spend the time getting to know her and to trust, and that she will trust will be there, that will do those things. So and you know, that's this kind of ongoing trauma that we talk about, you know, this complex PTSD that doesn't ever stop, because it's the next stage of a trauma. It's the next development in the next bit of her life.
Yeah. So I've got secondary school now, and then it will be sixth form, or like GCSEs, or then sixth form. Poppy probably will never do her GCSEs. So we've come to it that she will work towards them, but she probably won't come out of school without any, but she will learn life skills to help her. The everyday thing of like adding money up, going to a shop and paying for something. She might not be able to pay for it for herself, but she'll have someone with her to encourage her to talk and do that. Definitely. Which is so this school will do that, you know, the lessons, and that's what and she's with other SEND children.
Good.
And she loves them. They love Poppy. If she's not there,
how can you not?
They're like, where is she? She is part of the group, and she always has been. In primary school, if Poppy wasn't there, they were worried about where is she, where's she gone, what's she doing. So she's got this persona that she gives off that everybody just loves her.
She does,
even though she is who she is, in a wheelchair and can't do everything. I remember in reception there was a little boy. I gave books into reception to go over what she couldn't do and everything, and they read them to the children. And this little boy didn't have a clue what to say or how to ask, and he wrote it on a note and gave it to Poppy's one-to-one and said, please can you answer my questions about Poppy? I really want to know about her. So they sat in a corner, and she said, what do you want to know? So he just said, why is she like this? And then every day every morning they'd go into like reception, and they'd have a whiteboard and they'd practice their handwriting or writing their letters, because he knew Poppy couldn't go and get one. He got her one every day. And a pen. They were 5 years old.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Exactly. And I think and this is what I want, you know, like people, instead of staring as you do, you get the stares and whatever, I'd rather people come up to me and ask me a question. Say, what happened? Is she okay? You know, why is she like, I would rather them ask than stare. Yeah. And I would tell them the truth. And all the parents were like, thank you so much for all the books. And like this mum come up to me of the little boy and said, oh my God, he's so happy now, he knows about Poppy and he wants to help her. And I'm like, if that's all I can do is help. But if children don't get brought up with children like Poppy, they're never going to learn. Yeah. You know, they're going to stare. Yeah. We go on holiday and you get the stares of the children like, oh my God, look at her, she's in a chair. And you're like, and then you're sitting there feeding her. Yeah. And then I get self-conscious, and I think, well, why am I getting self-conscious? This is my child. Yeah. But you're aware of your situation, that other people are a bit ignorant. Yeah. And they're not actually telling their children you know, and I remember one mum, we were walking around the pool, and this little boy just stopped and stared, and he followed her right around the pool. And the mum went, don't stare. And I said, if he wants to stare, that's fine. But he's just, he can't understand why she's in a chair. And he went, I'll talk to him later. And I went, thank you. Yeah, go and that's all you need to do. Educate your child that not everybody is, should we say normal? I don't like that word, but can walk around and talk and do the everyday thing. I know. I used to work with you know, disabled adults. Yeah. And I had a regular guy that I used to take out, and you know, I'd try and take out. Sometimes he just liked to sit in the car, love him, but you know, sometimes we try and take him out. And we went to, I think it was M&S one day, and just sat in the cafe, and there was nowhere else free, but we were on a 4 table, you know, and then there's 2 chairs sat next to us, and people were coming in and literally standing there going, oh, well, there's nowhere to sit. And I was going, there's 2 right here, 2 right here. You know, people are like, oh, looking over your head, and like, oh goodness, there's nowhere to sit. No, they're really like, what is wrong with you? Why would you not want to sit here? Like, he's not gonna, I mean, he might have harmed them, to be fair. He did have flailing limbs, but I was on it, you know. But essentially, what is this, like you say, this ignorance about not wanting to, and maybe it's not like a self-protection, but lack of confidence. Maybe people don't want to interrupt, maybe they think it's rude to ask, maybe you know, there's that. But like you say, if you teach them from kids, actually just be normal with people, just be regular, ask the question. All you have to do is say hello. Like, you know, like Poppy's chair, I mean, she's got a snazzy wheels with, you know, like strictly glitter ball on them, and everyone's like, oh, love your wheels. And I say to Poppy, what do you say to them? And you go, thank you. So it actually gets her to interact with them, to you know. So I'm like, thank you. like, oh, cool chair or whatever. But yeah, it's like some people, they're not ignorant, they're just scared to ask. I think they just don't want to upset you. And I'd rather you come up and ask, because if you don't know, you're not going to know. Every child is different. Every adult is different with special needs or disabilities and that. So yeah, it's an everyday thing. You go out and I'm pushing around a child in a wheelchair and you still get people staring, but you're like, do you know what? She's my daughter. I don't know any different. I just get on with it, because you have to.
Yeah.
I have to get on with it, because if I can't get on with it, Poppy's not got a life.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I know, like, there must be some, and growing up, like, all of the kids go through this emotional kind of turmoil, this like frustration where they can't, express themselves. But obviously for Poppy, that continues, right? She has expression to, to a point. She can obviously say what she wants, but to a point, there's going to be that frustration of, people are staring, or I'm embarrassed, or something, I need something that I can't express. Like, how do you cope with that? How does Poppy manage that?
I don't make it obvious for Poppy, because I don't want her to worry when we go out. It's bad enough when we go out, like with the crowds. She doesn't like crowds, or I think that's just because she's got no control over her, and everyone, obviously we just get on with it, but for her, she can't move. So, and it's the same with people when they get too close to her at school. She's like, oh, I don't like it. And I said, what do you need to tell them? Go away. Or please don't cuddle me. Or can you give me a little bit of space?
Go away.
Because it came to a point, there was one little girl constantly cuddling her, and she said, I don't like it. And I went, well, just tell her, please leave me alone, or go away. Or and I said, it sounds bluntly, but she'll get the point. And then maybe your TA, and I'll speak to the but I try not to worry for her. Like, try and express my worries onto her, because she's got enough going on.
Cool.
So when we go to new places, I'm like, oh God, and I worry myself. And Rob's like, what are you worrying about? I'm like, because I am. Goes, yeah, but they'll just have to move. We got to do what. So Rob's point, matter of fact, there's me worrying in my head every scenario that could go wrong, or what the way it should be. And Rob's like, what are you worrying for? Like, because that's what I do, because of her. Everywhere we go, we can't go to many places, because some buildings aren't wheelchair friendly. We're limited to where we can go. So, we have to think about where we go. We can't just go, right, do you know what, we're going so-and-so. It don't work like that. We have to plan but that's just part of, I think the world has got to change. For chilled people in wheelchairs.
Definitely. I was going to say, that's got to piss you off. Like, that there's not a provision for it, at least. Like, it's because it's not just a case of, I'm guessing it's not just a case of ramps, it's a case of like door widths and like being able to physically get around places that they're just not kind of.
It's restaurants as well, it's when you phone up, can I not have a booth, or can I not be on level 2 or something because you haven't got a lift? You have to explain everything. Like when you go to the cinema, most things you can book online, and you have to book the accessible seats or whatever, but I can't just ring up for a show and say, oh, I have to go through a different line to get the tickets and explain everything, and I have to apply to be on the accessible waiting, booking forms and all. It's all, but that's just part of what I have to deal with every day, so I don't make a big issue of it, because that is just the norm for me now.
But that's some stuff that I actually haven't considered.
No, because you don't have to deal with it,
right? And I know you, and I know we go out places or we meet places, but I can't believe that I'm saying this, like, this many years down the line. I guess that's something I haven't considered as an added frustration for you. I don't know.
So when we go out, like, people say, oh, let's go to the park. I'd rather not, because Poppy can't go on anything. She has to sit there and watch everyone else have a lovely time on the slides and the swings and whatever. She can't do it, because there is nothing that she can go on. When she was little, totally, but she's a 13-year-old child. I can't lift her.
No.
She's in a wheelchair. She's now hoisted in everything. So, when we met up last summer, it was limited. Like, we went to the park, and the kids moved her, wheeled her around and whatever. And I think Poppy's come to a point now that she has to accept that she can't go on there. Now that's tough,
That, yeah, it shouldn't be like that, though.
No, it shouldn't be like that. But she's had to accept it. That I
Mm.
said, oh, come on, let's go and watch so and so on the swing. And she's like, all right. So we make a joke of it. Like, so see how high you can go. And Poppy loves it. But deep down, I'm breaking because I'm like,
Yeah.
she can't do that. But she's got to get the fun out of someone else's fun. So that's how I have to see it, that she's still enjoying herself, even though it's a negative, that she's can't actually join in.
Yeah.
It's like Jack, he comes over every year, you know, it's lovely. They come over and they come here like for tea, or we go in the hot tub, and Jack's just like, oh, come on, Pops, let's go in the hot tub. Or what should we do? Should I help you with your arm? They get it.
Yeah.
Some children just get it, and that's
Yeah.
how it is. And like when we went up at the park, he's like, come on, I'll wheel you around. So he did, you know, but not all children get that because they're not brought up with it.
Yeah. And I guess that's because she's part of the crowd,
group,
that we all learn, what it is that makes her tick, what she likes, what she doesn't like, how to communicate, and they don't know any different. So, that's a good thing. But like we say, the kids that aren't exposed to this kind of stuff for, I don't know, their parents' fear of whatever for some reason, or, for, I don't know, whatever reasons, really, it doesn't make it right. I'm just thinking a bunch of stuff, like the things that I've not considered in your life, even though I've known you for this long, and I feel a bit shitty about it, actually, because it's
you
not.
Shouldn't have to, but that's
but
you're just the
I've never
average Joe
asked,
that
I
thinks
guess.
like that. Yeah, but I think I went out with a friend one day. She booked a restaurant and she went, oh no, they've put us upstairs. I forgot to ask for a wheelchair space. But I went, why would you? She went, well, I should have known because Poppy's in a wheelchair. And I'm like, but normally when you ring up for a reservation, you just take another table for 4.
Yeah.
You don't need to actually put in what else you need.
Yeah.
So when we book online, it's like, right, any other additional notes? Like, yeah.
Bring them on.
How much do you want?
Yeah.
I need space because her arms could be flinging out and they could actually knock a waiter with the hot food. They could not constantly. I need, So if you've never had to deal with it, you don't sort of think about it because you don't have to.
Yeah, and
you're not ignorant. It's just that's not your life you lead. So why would you constantly think about it? But then if you came out with me, you would see, and you'd be like, oh right, yeah, no, Poppy needs that. So you're like, right, okay, we won't do it that way.
But I guess there's something about me saying that I've not considered it. But I guess the flip side to that is where, we kind of started the conversation when people say to you, how are you? And you just go, yeah, good. If you don't offer up, well, actually, today's been a bit shit because, you invited me out and actually you said we should go to a park, and that's a bit shit for Poppy because I don't mean like having a rant, but if you don't offer it, then maybe, so I guess there's more about the communication, about us thinking about what you guys need, but you offering what you need.
I don't mind going. I mean, like we went to the park and we walked around and it was lovely. And obviously, it wasn't about going. She could enjoy being with other people. So that was the main reason we all meet up, and that is what we do. So it's not like if it was a big part, I'm like, no, we can't go there. I would say it.
Yeah.
Because I would then struggle and I would panic myself, and then I would put Poppy in a situation that's not fair on her.
Yeah.
So totally. I do speak up, and I have to speak up because if I don't, it's not going to happen, or it will just get worse.
Yeah.
And it's not nice speaking up and being negative all the time, because I'm not a negative person. I don't like being negative. Everyone loves a moan, don't we? So we all have an entitlement to moan, and every day can be a tough day or it can be a good day. Just, I go to work, that is my mental health. I can be Zoe. I don't have to be Poppy's mum.
Yeah.
And I can switch off. And I can play with babies and children that can actually play and do the average thing. And then I can come home and I can deal with my child that can't do it.
How does that sit with you, though? Does that...
Oh, it's tough every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go to work and I love going to work. Being a nursery nurse, that's what I wanted to do. And I love being with children, whatever age. But that is I love it. Sitting there holding a baby, feeding them, or playing with the 2-year-olds that, trying to learn to talk and role playing or stuff like that. Poppy never was able to do that. She could talk because her language is absolutely fine, but having to hold her or get her arm to do something, manipulate it, and even now, like, oh, should we make some cards, Christmas cards? She went, no, because she knows it's painful for her, because I've got a, it's like writing Christmas cards. She wants to write, but after like 4 or 5, her hand hurts because I'm holding the pen over her hand to write, but she wants to do it.
Yeah.
That's her input, otherwise I'm writing it and it's not from me then, is it?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's every day is tasks, every day is a struggle, but it is our struggle. It is what us 3 get on with, should we say, me, Rob, Poppy, and the family that come around. They see it. I don't get a lot of support because they're not all there. They all work full time, so it is mainly just me. But I have to get on with it.
Right.
I have to, because if I don't, I'm going to be mentally unstable.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then I'm failing my child, and that's the worst thing I want to do. So, and then I'm failing myself because I'm not being the mother that I know. I never want, I remember when I was training to be a nursery nurse, and you got asked to go to different places. And one of them was in a special needs school, and I went, no, they scare me.
Really?
They scared the living daylights out of me. I was 16, 17, like, no, I don't do it. Now, I love them. They're great because I have a child that is in that circle. And obviously with all our children's needs, because all our group, they've all got needs, as we know.
Yeah.
We're all getting through it. So it's what you just have to do. You just have to, there's a poem, and it was Going to Holland. It's called Going to Holland. And it's about someone, you read all the books, like going on holiday, and but you're going to Italy, right?
Right.
Or was it, I can't remember, whatever, but it was going to Holland. So I think it was one, so you read up all the books on it, but actually when you get on the flight, you're going to a different destination. You're like, hang on a minute, no, I can't go there. Because actually, this is how my journey has gone. You read up all the baby books, and it's in I've worked with children all, that's what I trained to do. So it's going to be normal. Should we say? No, mine was diverted, and I've gone a different route. And I'm still learning to this day of how to get Poppy what she wants. It's a battle every day.
Yeah.
The NHS is, crumbling, bless its heart, but it has always supported me and Poppy.
Yeah.
Have to fight to get equipment for her.
Yeah.
But health-wise, I have an amazing community paediatrician that I could just message, and within a moment she will message me back, and she's there to help me.
I love that.
It's amazing. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do without her, and I think she and all the team that work within Poppy, they're great. I have to pay private physio because you do not get physio on the NHS, and that is for every child with a physical disability. It stopped when she was 5.
But to me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're lucky, because if we lived in America, let's say, I know I wouldn't have been able to keep my child alive. Like I didn't have the funds for that. There wouldn't have been funds. So in the UK, and again, I'm going to spout stats from 2010, but it might be slightly more than that now, given inflation. But it cost £1,000 a day to keep a child in neonatal care.
Yeah.
A day. And if you think how many hundreds of days we have spent individually and collectively in with our children, just in that initial afterbirth period for however many months, and then they're going back in for a few days, and then different illnesses, and and then, like you say, the physios, and then the oxygens, and the all the different clinicians that are involved. We're so lucky that we have the NHS. However, I don't understand why you have to pay for your own child's physio, because this is a need. This isn't like an aesthetic, surgery. This isn't something that's just because she wants it. This is something that physically, mentally, she needs for life.
Everybody needs exercise, as we all know. And if she does not get this physio, her muscles will deteriorate.
Yeah.
Her body will deteriorate. I'm not going to do that for her.
No.
So we spend, we have to fundraise.
Yeah.
We've had some amazing people back us, and they've always been there for us. But like I said to you earlier, we've had COVID. That's stopped a lot of things. We're now in a living crisis.
Yeah.
That's going to stop a lot of things. I can't ask people for money because I know they're struggling as much as what we are. We're okay at the moment. We did do a lot of fundraising and we're okay. But towards the end of next year, we need to fill up the pot for Poppy.
Yeah.
Because we can't physically ourselves pay for it.
Yeah.
So we do need the amazing people out there that have got a little bit more money than us to help us.
Yeah,
because she needs that physio. She gets physio every day at school, but it's not the proper physio of what she needs, of the health side of it. We've seen Ollie for now 7 years, and he's amazing. And he knows Poppy inside out as much as, I could text him and he's like, yeah, right, she needs to do this, because the NHS is failing and they stopped hands-on physio when she was 5 years old. So 7 years ago, it stopped because of the budget. They couldn't put hands-on physios anymore. And you just think it's sad. We're lucky enough that we've got people behind us to back us and give us a little bit of their money. But there's some families out there that can't.
Yeah.
They are struggling, so they are getting the basic from the physio.
Yeah.
Poppy has to have Botox nearly every 6 months in her arms because they are tight. 1 minute she can be out like an aeroplane, or next minute they're tight in her chest and she can't do anything. So she needs this Botox. She's on medication every day. She's on 6 types of medication a day, because if she doesn't, she's not going to be able to function. Her body she'll be in pain. She lives with pain anyway. She had a major hip operation just before COVID. We were really lucky, just before lockdown went in. It was February. And this July, she's just had a hamstring operation.
Yeah. They made things better?
They have. Yeah, her hip was out of place. Her right hip, femur, leg bone was out of place. So that has been put in. She's now got screws and plates in her. And the hamstrings, her muscles contracted, as I said, and they got so tight she couldn't straighten her legs. They were constantly bent. So that's pain. So trying to do physio for her was just, no, she couldn't do it. She was crying all the time. So it's what she needed. It was that operation was actually probably the worst than the hip operation.
Yeah.
The recovery part. Poppy loves hospital. So when you tell her she's going in hospital, she's jumping up for joy. Do we get to stay in? Do I get to have dinners? She loves it. But I think
there's no institutionalizing there at all.
She goes, that's natural for her. And you know what? When everyone says, oh, I don't like hospitals, she goes, oh, I do.
Yeah.
She's in there because she don't know any different.
Yeah.
Because we're probably there nearly every month anyway. So it's part of our life, of what we have to do. I go up the hospital, I can always bump into someone I know, a nurse or a family member, someone in the public of, oh, you're in again. Yeah.
Bless her. It's crazy to me though that they can stop this kind of funding, given that she's going to be 13. But and that's not a Poppy, by the way, listeners. That is just my own personal view of my child becoming 13. Also,
exactly.
It's just like, oh, awful. What happened to us, Zoe? We were young.
What's gone?
What happened? But she's not a fully formed, fully grown adult yet.
No, not yet.
Continual, and
it's still growing.
This is stuff she's going to need ongoing, all the time until, I don't know, 25 maybe.
Exactly. And I don't even know if Ollie, to be fair, I don't know what age he goes up to, because he's pediatric physio. So where does pediatric stop? 16? don't know. So
10, 18,
it's constantly thinking ahead of, right, so what are we going to do with Poppy then? And then, you know, but I don't want to think about it like that because it frightens me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It frightens me if I'm not here. It frightens me if anything will happen. Do you know what I mean? It's them things, because I know she can't look after herself. You know, so it's all a bit daunting, but I try not to look on that bit. She's happy. She's here.
Yeah.
She's doing what she can, and I'm making her do what she can, and we're getting her the best that we can at the moment.
Yeah.
In life, in general, anything.
And I think that's the best way to look at it. I think if, you know, having early babies has taught us anything, you know, I remember people must have said it to you. Oh, they're early. Oh, how lovely. You get to love them for even longer.
No.
But no, like I get to be in absolute agony watching them, you know, possibly not survive and be really ill and, you know, for even longer, not even knowing what health issues are going to come after that.
Yeah.
So no, it's not a blessing, but at the same time, we've learned to watch them in the moment, in the minute, in the day, you know, and just appreciate that they're here and that they're healthy for now, and, you know, just enjoy
definitely
the time that we've got with them.
Because it's not going to change.
No.
And we've just got to suck it up, should we say, because they're here, they're our children, and we will always do the best we can for them. And it's just harder for me, as with a disabled child who's physically disabled, that cannot do anything herself whatsoever, that she will always need a one-to-one care. No matter how old she gets, you know, she might not want me when she's 21, 22. Do you know what I mean? And think, no, I need to get like a home carer. She might not want me to change her. She's always said, I'm not moving out. I'm not getting married. I'm going to live with your daddy forever. You know, but
awesome.
We laugh and joke about it. But you know what? She probably will be with us.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if she's ever going to get married. If someone would want to take on Poppy's care, because it's, you know, taking on Poppy is not just taking on Poppy, it's taking on everything. So, because she can't be left on her own. She can't do anything. So if you leave her on her own, the only time you leave her on her own is obviously when she sleeps or when she's watching the TV. So that's it.
I remember your friend and mine, Wilf, saying to me, you know, you're an advocate for your child. You have to speak up, and you're the only person that can. And boy, did he regret saying that. But he's right, you know. And
totally
like
right.
you say, as the parent, what other option do you have but to speak up for your child, to do for your kid, to make sure they've got what they need, because that's your job, right?
If I don't speak up, she'll never get what she needs. We wouldn't be here where we are now. Because I wouldn't be able, well, she wouldn't be getting half of what she's got now. And if I don't continue to do it, like I say, we just don't know what's going to happen with the NHS letter. You know, will it all be privatised? Have I got? Who knows? She'll never lead a normal, independent life. And I know I've accepted that. It's tough to accept. It really is, you know. And I know your child, you know, Joel and, you know, Dawn and, you know, everyone else is in our little group. They've all got their own little issues, but they might get off, go get married and have whatever. Poppy, I don't think ever will. And I know, and everyone's go, oh, don't be so negative. No, I'm being realistic. And I have to be realistic. That she will never leave home. And so she's with me until whenever. Don't know. So, when most children, oh, they're going to go to uni, and oh my God, I can go out tonight and I can leave the children at home, because they're at that age where you can leave them at home. I can't do that. But I can't, like I've said before, I can't dwell on it. It is my life. So when that comes, like, okay, I've got a babysitter, or I get a carer in, whatever. Because that is what our life entails. That is our little life in our little house. We need we get a carer in, and she's with Poppy.
I think you're right to be realistic, and I think to some people you know, when they maybe haven't got kids with extra needs or, you know, physical disabilities, it can come across as maybe a bit unfeeling, or it can come across as a bit blunt, but when this is your reality and when you're living it, the process of learning to accept what you're living with and learning to accept, you know, how you incorporate that into day-to-day life isn't a quick process. Like, it is a journey. It is something that takes a long time. It's something that I know you battle with. I know it's something that, you know, is difficult to accept. So I think you've come incredibly in an incredibly long way to be able to say, you know, it's a shit situation, but this is how we roll, and this is, you know, my daughter, and I love her, and this is what we do for her, because that's what you do, right?
You have to, yeah.
What are the other options?
That's like people say, oh, I don't know if I could do that if I was you. No, I don't know if that happened. Oh, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't know if I'd do it. Well, if that was your child, you would do it.
Of course you would.
Because you wouldn't have a choice.
Of course you would.
Do you know what I mean? I had to take this child home, or she's my child. She's my everything. So why would I not do everything that I can to keep her, to give her everything that I can?
Yeah.
Why should she not get it? And yeah, it is tough. And every day is tough. But she's here. She's my only child. Unfortunately, as you know, I miscarried and I lost George. So I'm going to give her everything that I can, because she is everything. She's my rock. She's got me through my darkest days, because I think, God, if I've had a shit day and I look at her that can't do anything for herself and she can still smile through it and make me laugh, I think, do you know what? Life ain't that bad.
Yes.
Because I can just get over it.
And she's such a rare sunshine. She's so sassy.
She is. She's a diva. She really is.
She knows what she wants, goddammit.
Totally. And that's what I love about her, because even though she struggles with her independence, you know, her confidence at home, and people that really know her, like you do, you really know her. New faces, they won't get to know Poppy, but when you know her, you know what she's like. And she is great. She's like the little life and soul of the party, or she'll always make you laugh.
Oh, good, yeah.
And, you know, people like being around her.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I know that sounds really
they
negative,
do.
but they do. They want, oh, I need to come. Like some of my friends are like, I'm having such a tough time at the moment. I need to come round and see Poppy. I'm like, okay, come round.
She's got
because
this
I think
infectious joy.
Yeah, and they evaluate their own life to think, do you know what, my life ain't, like I just said, my life ain't that bad.
Yeah.
But Poppy makes me smile because of she's just who she is.
Yeah. And you're right, you know, like after obviously, you know, you had your miscarriage, and it is always, again, your next part of your trauma, and it's fucking horrific. And you know,
I mean, I had to go for counselling to get through it. I thought I was all right, because you think, oh, I'm all right. You're not. You know, we had that little bit of counselling, should I say, in NICU. It wasn't the best, but I think after what we went through, like PTSD, as we've said, we're still going through it. And you always will go through it. We're still on that roller coaster, as they say. NICU is a roller coaster ride. I'm still on it, and I think we all will be, with children with needs. Every day is a different day, and one minute you're doing really well, and the next minute, bang, you know, down that slide you go. And you just got to pick yourself up and think, right, okay, how can we get through it? How are we going to solve this?
And people that haven't either been through it with you, even family members, I don't think quite get it. They've been there, so they've shared the experience, but I think unless you've physically been through it, unless you've been in that bubble, unless you've made the connections like we've made in the shittest of days, like you know, when there's no one else, and you know, I couldn't have been more grateful for you guys there 100%. You know, I couldn't have got through it without you all, because that kind of connection is rare. I mean, I guess it's not, because you know, there's lots of people that go through it, but I think some people go through it on their own and don't form those bonds.
Yeah, because I've know a couple of NICU mums, not recently, like children like 3 or 4. They didn't get what we got because they were separated. Because the new NICU in Skiboo at the moment is totally different to how we were.
Yeah.
I remember being stuck at the sink, first one in the doorway. So I had to talk to everyone because you had to wash your hands as soon as you entered the room.
Excuse me, I'll just scoot by.
Yeah, so I just said hi, so, and then there was like 5 of us in the room.
Yeah.
Or there was that tiny little corridor. There was only 3 rooms.
Yeah, it was tiny.
So that it was limited. So we bumped into each other, putting our pumps in the sterile pot or handing our milk over. Do you know what I mean? Or going down. So I think we not forced to make conversation, but we needed that interaction because we knew that we could all just gel because we all going through the same shit.
Yeah.
And we'd go down and have a coffee. And I remember Poppy was in Skiboo and they'd ring me and go, she's kicking off. You need to come back. She won't be fed. She wouldn't be fed by anybody else. So I have to go, I'm going. And they're like, oh, right, yeah, we need to go. We need to express. Or it's about time we did meds. Do you know what I mean? Because you all understood what we were all going through. And I think the bond that we have will never go, even though we're not in each other's lives as much as what we could be. But that's just life.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like next year, hopefully Jack and we'll be back and we can all meet up.
Yeah.
And we can all get together. Like every year we do get together if we can. But even if that once a year is good enough for us, it's good enough. Because we all know that if we're all on Facebook, if we all needed a bit of a, do you know what, I need to see you or whatever, you know, we know we could just call each other or message each other.
Yeah.
Because we're all going through our own troubles with our own children and our own lives.
Definitely. And like this time of year, like you said, obviously for sort of birthday, Christmas time for you, you know, before Christmas is difficult. Like for me, I said in my podcast, like I lost Anna on the 22nd of January, but Joel's birthday is the 19th. So it's same thing, this pre-Christmas, Christmas, January time sucks ass for me. And I had, and I say had, a friend who used to kick off every year when I just didn't feel like going out on her birthday on like the 23rd or whatever, because do you know what? Those few days kick my ass, and they do, and I'm always out of sorts, even if, like you say, people around and mum's like, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, you know, and she gets you in the kitchen, she goes, you sure you're okay? And you're, I'm fine, you know, but you know you're not. And those sorts of people, they don't understand. And I always think, you know, I'm so grateful, I'm so glad that I've got you guys, because I know that you know what that means, and you don't even need to say anything. And every now and again, one or other of you will get a message that just goes like, just thinking of you, or like, hope you're okay, or, you know, just a like on a message on a picture, and you just think, I'm good, I've got you, we're good. It's
like we bumped into each other this summer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the car park. We weren't there like 2-3 minutes, whatever, because I had to help someone else with the change machine. But we gave each other a hug, said, how you doing? And that was it. And I think sometimes that's all you need. Because you know you totally get it.
Definitely. You know, and like Catherine, who was on this week's podcast, she's another NICU mum, but not from our NICU, you know, and she has, you know, I think Una's, she's coming up 10. So again, like we're that much behind or different, but realistically she's been in that environment, so we have that connection because of the understanding of what it is to have a sickly baby, what it is to have these ongoing health problems, what it is to have that connection and to have that kind of detachment from your kid as well. It's such a,
and to sit in a room and watch a tiny baby do nothing, willing it. It's the hours you sat, you know, like I say, we got there like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. We didn't leave till like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. But, you know, we sat there, we read, you know, I wrote diaries, you know, cross-stitched, crocheted, whatever.
Magazines.
But we sat there.
Jane knew all about Brangelina, I tell you what. The nurses used to be like, you actually reading that to your kid? You said read to him, you did not say what.
No, exactly. And it was just, we do what you had to do, and only NICU Skiboo mums will understand that, because you're like, what, you sat in front of, and you're like, yeah, that's what you did, because that's your child. and you have nothing else going on in the world, that's your life sitting in front of you. That's where I want to be.
I remember reading to him one day, and it wasn't even for very long, but like you're allowed to put your hands around the heads and around their feet. So like a I don't know, a little box almost, isn't it? Like keeping them in a little bubble just to keep them contained. And I put my hand on his head just to read to him. And when I took my hand off his head, maybe 10 minutes later, he had dents where my fingers were.
Yeah.
You know?
So tiny.
Yeah. And I shit myself. I freaked out. But obviously the nurse, he'll be fine. You know, we'll turn him, his head will go back, and you're like, oh, my baby. I didn't realise. Oh, it's all, like, so many of those stories.
I remember at the end of the day, put Poppy all in that nice little nest. We used to snuggle her in, get a little taggy little bear, like square thing, and it used to fit. She'd kick it off. Yeah, it was tiny, like a handkerchief size. Yeah. And she used to flick her leg open, and she still does it to this day. She does not like to be covered or anything like that. So I didn't bother in the end because she just kicked it off. Oh. She doesn't like restraint. She doesn't like anything on her unless it has to be on, that sort of thing. So I just remember, you know, you sort of laugh at those little days, and you know, and I sort of changed her, and then like she'd shit all up on the wall and all that, and I'm like, oh my god, new incubator, great. And in the end, I, you know, like getting them out. The nurse, I was so confident. The nurse said, "Do you want to get her out today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get her out myself. Yeah, I don't need you anymore." Yeah, you know, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "What's the point? Yeah, I've got to do it when I get home." Yeah, you know, tuck her down the cardigan. You know, it was just what you did because that's the norm for you. Yeah, it's not normal to anybody else because you go in, give birth, you go home, but not for us. So to take that on the chin and to actually think about it all the time, not all the time, but it does crop up most times in your head. Yeah. You know, and coming up to her birthday, the next few, what's this, next Friday, I know Thursday night and Friday I will be a bit of a mess, but I will put on a brave face because it's her birthday, and you're like, hi, but I know I'll probably be thinking, God, what I went through to get you here. Yeah. You know, so it's, and then in the next breath is, I'm so lucky that you are here, you know, like when you lost another one, you kind of think, fuck, it could have been so different. And it could have, but what we've got is this incredible human that, you know, makes you laugh and drives you nuts and drives me nuts in the same time. Yeah, you just think, oh my God. I think it's in the film, The Bad Mums, and I relate to it when they say, if you could have like a car accident, just to, not really hurt yourself, just like have 3 days in hospital, just have a rest.
Just have a bit of time off.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That would be me. Just it sounds awful. Just a bit of peace and quiet. And my friend came round for breakfast this morning, and she said, oh, I went on a flight to New York. She works in has to go to America. She went, I didn't go with my colleague because I didn't actually want to talk to anybody. And we went on she got paid for upper class. And she said she just slid the door and watched movies for 6.5 hours. She went, I wish the flight was longer. And I went, that sounds bliss. Which, you know what I mean? She went, really? And I went, yeah. It does. 6 hours of not being disturbed. And, Mum, I need a drink. I've got an itch. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
It's just
it's so funny. Yeah. But I think it's necessary, you know, and that's why I wanted to do the podcast, and that's why I wanted to get you on, because, you know, I know you relate, and I know, you know, times can be really, really hard, but also the blessings that we get from having them, and how we've learned about ourselves, and, you know, how having them has made us who we are. Like, I'm a different person to who I was before I had him, you know, so there's so many good things, and things will change, things will develop, and they will change, but the bond that we have with them
will never change. It's amazing.
Can't break it.
No, definitely not. And I don't want it to be broken, because what we've been through, you know, it's just, she'll always be, she's my daughter. I'll do what I can. I always will. You know, you just think, I wish things were different. I think we all wish some days were different. We all wish things weren't like that, but that's normal. So you shouldn't feel bad about it, like I said earlier. But I think it's life.
Yeah.
She's here. She's alive.
And she's awesome.
And she drives me insane. But yeah, she is awesome.
Yeah, but she is half you though, Zoe.
More Rob. She's more Rob. There's no patience. Rob and her skipped the queue on that one.
Bless him.
My cup's full, but some days it's getting lower.
Oh my God, I love it so much. Listen, we should put a link to any of your, I don't know what you have, like a Just Giving or a...
We don't have a Just Giving page. We have a Facebook page for Poppy, Help Poppy Walk, and I update regularly about her physio journey, good days, bad days.
Yeah.
We've just got a new dog, so he's on there. He's a joy. Yeah, so
don't make things easy for yourself, do you?
No, just throw a new puppy in the works. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, disabled daughter. I'm going to train a dog to be an assistance dog as well. So yeah,
why not?
Why not? Yeah, I ain't got nothing else going on in my life, have I? So
all this free time you have, Zoe. Well,
as everybody thinks,
Oh, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so she has a page. So, and we need to do fundraising. So if anybody has any ideas, then obviously private message me or put it on the page. I'm quite happy to talk to someone. But we're going to do something next summer maybe. We did a disco pre-COVID, had loads of people come, like Tombola store, and it was great. And people have done runs, they do the Cambridge Marathon, half marathon. Rob's done the marathon for her and stuff like that. And we've had some good friends run or do challenge it. And like Jack, he does a challenge every year for her. He's amazing, bless him. He just wakes up one morning and goes, right, I think I'm going to do cycle round the complex where he lives for 12 hours to raise money. And you're like, what? But he did it, and he raised probably just under £1,000, but that can keep her going for like nearly 3 months worth of physio. So every little counts, and everything is amazing that what people can give. I don't ask them to give them their last pound, but if you could help, it would be lovely, because I would do the same for any other child. That if you see them struggling, they need this, they need that, then I would give my £5. You know what I mean? Sometimes it all adds up.
Definitely. If you send me the link, we'll put that onto I'll put it onto the YouTube site, and make sure that everybody's got the link to that, so that we can get some ideas going and do some more fundraising for Poppy for next year, hopefully.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've loved talking to you, as always. And I wish you all the best with all the fundraising. We'll see how much of that we can get going for you, and enjoy Poppy's birthday. Enjoy Christmas.
Thank you.
We will definitely have to come back and do some more updates, because I think there's been more people that would be definitely interested to talk more about her, to hear more of your experience, and just relate, because you're very relatable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm easy to talk to.
Yeah, you are. Oh, we love you.